and it breaks promises. And it's clearly a case of spin over substance, as we've been saying for quite some time. In fact, so much spinning that you could say that this government is spinning out of control. The trend is encouraging in the polls, but we're still behind. We've still got a lot of hard work to do, and you'd have to say that the government at this stage are still the favourites.
Mitch Fifield, could this just be a bit of a honeymoon for Tony Abbott, though? Some Labor MPs have been saying that they hope the election is later in the year to give Tony Abbott enough rope to hang himself. Is that a risk, a common fear among coalition MPs, that Tony Abbott could put his foot in it and somehow ruin the party's chances?
Colleagues have tremendous faith and tremendous confidence in Tony Abbott. He's got great judgment and he's got a real capacity to put the government under pressure. Tony's also someone who believes that the guts of politics is good policy, and that's what we're seeing Tony articulate, is an alternative policy agenda. That's what the Australian public want to see, and that's ultimately what will determine the next election, is the public judgment as to who has the best policies and who's best placed to manage. We're seeing growing evidence every day that this government is a hopeless manager.
Well, health reform, of course, is one area the Prime Minister says has been more complex than he imagined. Today, a number of newspapers seem to have leaks about just exactly what the government will do in this area, and the reports suggest that the government is going to go through on its threat to take over funding from the states. Craig Emerson, Labor premiers aren't likely to be too thrilled with that idea, are they?
Well, this is media speculation, Ashley, and I can't comment on that. I don't think Kevin Rudd or Nicola Roxon would see the funny side of me speculating about what will be in this health plan. But
it was worth a try, though, wasn't it, Craig?
It was worth a try. You're showing that you're worth your salt, Ashley, by asking. But look, what we won't do, of course, is rip $1 billion out of the public hospital system like Tony Abbott did when he was health minister. In fact, our $64 billion health agreement is a 50% increase on the previous health agreement. So if you're looking for a political party that's committed to proper health care and health reform in this country, you need to look no further than the Australian Labor Party.
But, Minister, despite all that extra funding, electrosurgery waiting lists have grown, emergency waiting times are longer, aren't they?
And this is one of the features of health care in a Western democracy. There's always a demand for extra quality care, and that's why we need to have a look at fundamentals of health care in this country. We're facing up to that. I think the state premiers realise that they've got a real funding problem on their hands, actually. So we're committed to health reform and we will be positive about this. I'd just like to hear something positive, anything positive from Mitch, from Tony Abbott. They criticise everything we do, and Tony Abbott has actually said that if in doubt, we will oppose, and he's carried through on that. Mitch talks about the rich array of policies that Tony Abbott has unveiled. Well, beyond bringing back work choices, I can't think of too many. Their policy is to do the opposite of what Labor has done, and Labor's policy, and we've seen that, and I'm sure we'll get onto the national curriculum with Christopher Pyne out there saying, well, they'll review it, and if they don't like it, they'll start again. We've been waiting 106 or 108 years for a national curriculum, and before it was even out, the coalition was opposing it.
I do want to get to the national curriculum, but just back to health reform. Mitch Fifield, the coalition isn't against taking over funding from the states, is it? In principle, is it really a bad idea?
Well, what we're expecting from the government shortly on health is more blah blah. We've already indicated the direction that we think national health should go. We've put out a policy. We've put out a policy which is to put power back in the hand of local boards, of regional boards in Queensland and New South Wales, so that local clinicians, the local healthcare community, and the local community more broadly have a say in the running of the hospital.
But,
they're
Senator,
closest to the patients.
As the Minister just pointed out, though, that's a plan for New South Wales and Queensland. We have no idea what you're planning to do across the rest of the country.
It's a mystery.
Well, Western Australia already has something close to these local boards. Victoria also has regional boards, but you'll see the rest of our health policy in due course. We've got no reason to have any confidence at all in what this government is going to propose in relation to health. They break their promises. They promised 31 GP super clinics. There are only 2 out there. This government promised that they wouldn't touch the private health insurance rebate, yet they've got a MEDAX ready and waiting for private health insurance. This government promised that they'd fix private health insurance by the middle of last year. They didn't. this government promised that they'd take over public hospitals if public hospitals hadn't been fixed in the middle of last year, and they haven't. If they were serious about taking over public hospitals, they'd have introduced a referendum bill into the Parliament. They haven't. What they'll be proposing, probably another damp squib. But they've broken their promises to date, and now it looks like they might perhaps be starting to move close to what Tony Abbott has been advocating, which is more local control. Well, we'll have to wait and see what there is in their policy, but what we do know is that they lack the capacity to deliver it.
Yes, we do need to wait to see
Ashley,
more details from both sides of politics on this, because
there's Mitch shaping up to say we're going to oppose whatever Kevin Rudd and Nicola Roxon reveal about our health reform package. He's already readying the coalition to
Craig,
oppose
I'll speak for myself if it's just
very rare policy of Labor that the coalition doesn't oppose.
Gentlemen, we're going to leave it there because I know that you have both made your points on that. But when we come back just after the break, we'll be looking at the national curriculum and the controversy over history lessons. Stay with us. We'll be back in a sec.